Hi there and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am Sherry Elizabeth. I post videos every Tuesday and Friday all about Disney. Today we are talking about Storybook Dining at Artist Point at the Wilderness Lodge. Storybook Dining is the newest character dining experience at Walt Disney World. It features Snow White, Dopey, Grumpy, and the Evil Queen. Storybook Dining at Artist Point switched over from just the regular signature dining experience in December of 2018, and we visited the first week in January of 2019, and I wanted to share our experience with you. I know there are a lot of people who weren't very happy that Artist Point switched to character dining. We had never eaten at Artist Point before. We have only done it as Storybook Dining, so just full disclosure, I have nothing to compare it to in terms of what it was before and what it is today. So a little bit about Storybook Dining. They are only open for dinner. Reservations are from 4 p.m. until 9 p.m. I strongly encourage getting that reservation. I have heard of people being able to just walk up and have dinner there, but I would not count on that. This is a prix fixe menu, but it is a little bit different. The appetizers and the desserts are shared at the table, and the entree, you get to select an entree off of a menu. Adults are $55 and children ages 3 to 9 are $33. Children who are 10 and over are considered adults, according to Disney. As I am filming this video, it is only one table service credit if you were on the dining plan. I don't know if that is going to change, but definitely check online before you go. Now, we are annual pass holders. We were able to use our annual pass holder discount. I have heard though that other people said that they were not. Your mileage may vary. In our experience, we were able to use our annual pass holder discount. Okay, let's talk about the experience. So like I said, we hadn't eaten there before, so I don't know what it was like before, but I have to say from the moment you walk in, it feels special. It is Enchanted Forest themed, so there are trees that have lights in them. It just feels very storybook-like. I think when you think of fairy tales and when you think of like the wilderness and Snow White, I think that the theme fits in really, really well at the Wilderness Lodge. Now, Snow White, Dopey, and Grumpy come around to your table, but when you meet the Evil Queen, she has her own little area and you see it right when you walk in. But personally, we really, really loved the theming of it and the decoration of it. Now, the service. I think that it is probably the best service we have ever had, ever, at Walt Disney World, and maybe the best service we have ever had. Every cast member that we encountered were lovely. They took the time to explain the whole process to us. They were super friendly. They were super accommodating. We have some food allergies. In our experience, it was really, really fabulous. We were seated in the very back of the restaurant in the back corner, which I kind of enjoyed. We were tucked away, which was nice when the characters came around because we had kind of a backdrop that was just a cabinet that we could take pictures, so there was no other people in the back of the pictures, which was nice. And then when the characters left for break, they went through the back door right where we sat, so we got to see them leave and got to see them come back, which was kind of fun. I will say that this is a very long meal. It took us, our reservation was at 6:05 and we walked out of there at 7:45. It was very long. It did not feel very long. It felt like maybe we were there an hour or so. It did. You were constantly doing something, whether you were eating, whether you were meeting a character. When Dopey and Grumpy came back from their break, they did a little dance party and ran around, and the kids got up and danced. So there was constantly things going on. We have a almost 5-year-old, and he was not bored at all because there was so much going on, so much to see, and it just felt like you weren't just sitting there like waiting. For us, it was constant movement and activity, which is nice, but also some people could see that as a downside, that you don't get to really sit and enjoy your meal because there are interruptions as far as the characters coming and things going on, whatnot. But for us, it was not a problem. Now let's talk about the food. So the appetizers, they have that cute like little tree that's on the table that spins around with the 3 plate areas on it. and the appetizers are shared generally. So my husband and my son have a shellfish allergy, and so part of the appetizer is a shrimp. And we just thought that they would serve them something else, but they completely separated their appetizers from what I received, which I appreciate. Because the way the appetizers were served, I was not really worried about the shrimp contamination, the shellfish contamination, because they were served on a completely separate plate. But they took the allergy very seriously and didn't, and brought them completely separate plates from what I received. So we didn't quite have the full experience there, but that's fine. So my husband and son got the allergy friendly plate. Each of them received something called From the Garden, which I believe is a kid's appetizer that you can request. So it had a tiny little roll with a little jar of butter, but it wasn't butter, it was more like buttermilk, but if you shook it, it would turn into butter. My son was not interested in that. He actually took the roll and dipped it into the buttermilk, and he loved it. I tried it, it was delicious. They also got a stick of string cheese of mozzarella cheese and some veggies to dip in ranch salad dressing. They both got carrots and celery. And then they got some red grapes. They each received a cauldron of the winter squash bisque. And then they got a little tiny salad that had some radishes, some carrots, some other vegetables there. And then they received something else which I did not taste, and I don't know what was in there. I asked my husband and my son, and they didn't know quite what was in there. It was some type of like a veggie patty. They both really enjoyed it. I'm sorry, I looked online, I couldn't find what it was, but that was what they received. So it was quite a bit that they received with their allergy-friendly plates. Now, I received the winter squash bisque, which I think was the highlight of the entire meal. I wish that we received more of it. It was in this little tiny cauldron, which was adorable. And then it was served with like a marshmallow that had like granola on it. And then you dipped the marshmallow into the soup and stirred it around, and the marshmallow melted and it gave the soup some sweetness. That soup, I could have had like a big old bowl of it. It was really good. Additionally, I received the hunter's pie. They actually brought 2 hunter's pie. That does not have allergens in it, but I don't know why they didn't bring it for my husband and son. It has chicken with black truffle, and it's served with like a fruit preserve. I personally did not care for it. My husband did try it and he really enjoyed it, but I am not the biggest truffle fan. I only like it in small doses, and it was a little too rich for me. Just my personal opinion. And then there was the Wicked Shrimp Cocktail. It came in this cute little jar. It was a giant shrimp that was perfectly cooked, and it was cold, and it was really good. And it was served, on the bottom there was mixed greens, soy, miso, avocado, and Thai chili. That was excellent. That was definitely a highlight of the meal as well. I really enjoyed it. And then on to entrees. There are 6 entrees to choose from on the menu for adults. I ordered the Royal Prime Rib Roast. It is served with horseradish mashed potatoes, carrots, a popover, and au jus. And my husband got the Brothers Grimm roasted chicken. It is served with potatoes, Brussels sprouts, apples, and a chestnut butter. So I am a prime rib aficionado. If I could eat prime rib for every meal, I absolutely would. So I'm just gonna preface this with, I am very particular about my prime rib. So I like my prime rib medium rare, but a little more on the rare side. And when the prime rib came out, it was a very thick cut, but it was more on the medium side. I didn't send it back. Looking back, I probably should have, but I went ahead and ate it. It was fine. It was a little bit tougher than I would have liked, although it was a pretty thick cut of meat, and it was more well done than I would have liked, but I still ate it and it was fine. I liked the horseradish potatoes, and I liked the popover. My husband's chicken was fabulous. It was cooked perfectly. It wasn't tough. It wasn't dry, it was moist, and he really, really enjoyed it. And it's definitely something that he said he would order again. Would I order the prime rib again? Probably not. Now on the kids menu, there are quite a few options. My son was not feeling very adventurous and he actually got the chicken tenders. He really, really enjoyed them. It is a very, very large portion. It came with the chicken tenders and the French fries. It was way more than he could eat, which I guess is a good thing when you're paying $33 for a child. But it did feel like after he ate his appetizers and kind of filled up on those things, that he wasn't super hungry for his entree, which is fine. But just keep that in mind if you have a child who maybe doesn't eat as much. And then there are the desserts. There's the Miner's Treasure, which is sponge cake, chocolate gems, buttercream ice cream, which is all layered. It's kind of like a deconstructed cupcake, I guess. It kind of has all the elements, but it's not your traditional cupcake. And it's topped with this adorable little white chocolate Dopey's hat. Then there's the Fairy Tale Gooseberry Pie, which is meringue with gooseberries. There's the Poison Apple, which is definitely the showstopper. The presentation on this was amazing. It's a white chocolate apple mousse with a sour center. And then at the end, the server brings out what's called the Hunter's Gift to the Queen, which is maple popcorn and chocolate hearts. The presentation on that was really amazing and just a fun little touch at the end. As far as the desserts go, it really felt like by the time we got there, we were full because of the appetizers and then the entrees. So while it may seem like they're small portions, I think that it's definitely enough to really fill you up. Personally, I thought that the desserts were all good, but they were all very, very sweet. The little Dopey cupcake was delicious. The cake was very moist, and the buttercream frosting was super silky and was really, really good. I personally don't really care for gooseberries. It was okay. I just had a couple of bites. The Poison Apple was really, really good. I have to say that was probably the standout dessert, not only because of its appearance, but its taste. And it was just like 2 little bites, which was just perfect. The popcorn for the Hunter's Gift to the Queen was really good, and the chocolate hearts were good as well. So when the server brought that out, he said that it was time for us to go and see the Evil Queen. I have to say that meeting the Evil Queen was probably the best character interaction I have ever had. She was amazing. She is just really quick, and my son was so scared of her. He did not go up to meet her, and actually she kind of scared me. It was really an amazing character interaction that I think I will remember forever. As far as meeting the other characters, they were all fabulous as well. It did feel like the characters spent a lot of time with us. Snow White was amazing. We have met Snow White a couple times and she's always fabulous, and she did not disappoint. My son is a huge Dopey fan, and so he was wearing his Dopey costume, and Dopey spent a ton of time with us, and Grumpy was a lot of fun, and really they were all just great. And I have to say that this was by far the best character dining experience we've had, even though the food was not maybe as good as I had wanted it to be. The service and the character interactions definitely made up for it. So would I recommend Storybook Dining at Artist Point? Absolutely. I would not hesitate to try to get that reservation. I know that it is one of the more expensive character meals. Definitely give it a chance and bring your appetite. I think that it's worth it. And for us, we really, really enjoyed it and will definitely be going back. If you have any questions about our experience at Storybook Dining at Artist Point at Wilderness Lodge, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I would love for you to subscribe if you have not already. I post videos every Tuesday and Friday. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!